Welcome to Agents Growth Academy. I hope you are ready to grow big or go home. I am your headmaster, Jim Schubert, and you have on screen, if you're watching this, and in your ears if you're listening to it, one of the most enigmatic, one of the most energetic people that I could possibly introduce you to. And her friends know her as Missy, but many of you probably know her as Melissa Stallings. Melissa, Missy, welcome to Agents Growth Academy. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Jim. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'll try and bring all the energy and live up to the introduction.
I know we were doing like muscle flexes right before we got on, so you and I are going to be pumped, get the audience pumped. I'm excited because we're going to talk a little bit about what you're passionate about, what I feel like is going to resonate with a lot of insurance agents who are trying to grow that book of business and create that lifestyle that they desire. From the fact that you are solely focused on referral partners in growing your business, but that you have also focused a lot on agency culture and relationships. So I know that probably resonates with a lot of people, but there's some really good secrets and tidbits I think you're going to get across to the audience. I want to let them know kind of who you are, why you're here. Um, Melissa, or Missy as she's affectionately known, is a trailblazer who forged her path by establishing Stallings Insurance Agency in the fall of 2008. I actually think I met you only a couple years before that when you were kind of trying to figure out the path you were going to take. She founded the agency on three core values. Here we go with the culture already: positive, polished, and commitment, while creating a brand rooted in the values of family, faith, and fun, which I'm kind of interested. I underline that one because I want to figure out what that means to you.
Okay.
Missy started her professional journey in corporate sales at T-Mobile, where she gained recognition and awards for her records and outstanding achievements in the business world. She transitioned to Liberty Mutual and discovered the insurance industry that eventually turned her wanting to create an independent agency into a reality. With resolute work ethic, adept management, and a dedicated team, most of all, Missy has molded her 15-year-old agency into a model of excellence. Beyond the confines of her agency, Missy is an integral participant in industry and community circles. I know that firsthand. Affiliating with organizations such as IIAG, which is the Big Eye of Georgia, SNA, which I'll let you tell the audience what that is, AOA, and Secure Risk, which more recently is how you and I got connected and broke some bread over lunch. And more, in addition to actively engaging with the Douglas County and Carroll County Chambers, which is, if you're not familiar with that, that's west of Atlanta. It's a very, I would say it's a growing area. I feel like there's a ton of opportunity out there. Her affinity for like-minded peers fosters enduring relationships that fuel her agency's success, while her philanthropic spirit drives her involvement in numerous charitable initiatives annually, underscoring her commitment to giving back to the community. Welcome again, Missy Stallings. So I got a question for you.
Yes.
Was there a pivotal moment for you or an epiphany that you had that made you say, you know what? Above all else, when I'm starting this insurance agency, it's going to be about culture and relationships.
Yes. One of them was, I think I shared this story with you, um, at Liberty Mutual, the only full year that I was there, because I started in the middle of 2006 and
Yeah.
was fired in September of 2008. Great stories, both of them. But 2007 was my only full year, and I was rookie of the year. Because I was rookie of the year, the tenured agents didn't see me coming, so I also got the Crown Award too, which is over on my wall. So rookie of the year and Crown for the most homeowners insurance policies written in the nation,
Wow.
which is
Whoa,
pretty
whoa, whoa.
cool.
Say that again. Most homeowners policies written in the nation? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the Crown Award and rookie of the year. So rookie of the year is a cool achievement, I guess, but the
Yeah.
crown was really it had never happened where a rookie got that award before, and I still don't know if it has again. But Ted Kelly, the CEO at the time, shook my hand in his thick Irish accent and said, "How did you do it?" And I said, "It's based on relationships."
Awesome.
So that was a big pivotal point in my career in insurance.
Yeah.
However, another one that also stands out was a meeting in Vegas with when I was really struggling with hiring.
And
Do you want me to expand
so
on
you
that
had,
story
sorry,
too?
I thought you were saying you met someone in Vegas. Was there like was it someone or was it a speech or what was it that you heard that
Well,
helped
we
you
were
figure
at a
that out?
mortgage. Yes. So a lot of you know that my husband was the one that encouraged me to get in the insurance industry. When the commute to T-Mobile was too far, it was a 2-hour drive one way from Douglasville to Atlanta and 40 miles, but 2 hours one way. It took
Yeah,
years off my
insane.
life. So I said, we're getting divorced. We're either getting a divorce, we're moving, or I'm going to change careers. He's like, I like option number three. It's great. So we wanted something symbiotic, which is where your and my paths crossed because his office was at the bottom of the Southern States Insurance Agency in Douglasville.
Right.
And that's when I kind of interviewed your dad about independent versus captive. And
Yep.
so that's when I landed at Liberty Mutual, fired from Liberty Mutual, started my independent agency. David let me have some space in his office that he was then running that branch at the time. And I was just really struggling though after the first 2 years with the hiring. And I had two children at the time. So juggling mom responsibilities plus hiring. And I have two friends from Liberty Mutual, Zach and Matt, and they have an insurance agency, GNN Insurance in Boston. And we competed with each other, but I beat them in
Nice.
2007. That was the only
Handily, I'm
time.
sure.
I know. But highly respected. And, it's just interesting. The independent side of the business versus the captive side is so cutthroat internally, and independent is just like everybody helps each other. It's amazing. There's enough business to go around. Me and you even said that at lunch.
Yeah.
Because, you have an agency here in town too.
Yep.
So I sat down with them. They were also at the Mortgage Bankers Convention, which is where the majority of my referrals came from when I first started out. And so it was a great conference convention to go to. It's also where I met Tony Robbins for the first time.
Nice.
I sat down with them and they were like, "What's your number one struggle?" Because they had taken off and I was still like,
Yeah.
um, and they were like, "Well, what are your values?" And I said, well, this is valuable and this is really valuable. They're like, no. What are your agency values that you want to base your culture off of? And they recommended a book called Traction,
Yep.
Wickman.
Yep.
And I read that book and really my values jumped off the page at me. And I went back and fired an employee because I
Wow.
knew he wasn't committed. He was super positive, which was really hard because that is number one to me. I
Yeah.
cannot stand negativity. It's poison. But
Yep.
the polished piece, and he's probably going to watch this podcast too because he started his own agency actually, and he probably learned. It was the best thing I did for him, honestly, was letting him go. But he was studying for the. It's the only man I've ever hired too. Ooh. Um, not by on purpose, just by accident. But
Oops.
once you have the thought that you need to let an employee go, you should have already let them go,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And that's really
Yeah.
what they helped me. They were just like, rip off the band aid. Whenever that, and I've only had to fire ever two employees.
Ooh.
So that's a blessing in 15 years.
Wow.
The other
No
ones that needed to go, they
doubt.
just kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Probably
It's really,
still to this day remains the least favorite part of my job is having to
oh
let
my
people go.
gosh.
But I think, as you said too, it's like sometimes you're helping them up, right? If it really becomes a better situation for them, and the way we look at it in our agency, and this is part of what we learned from our implementer. So for those of you who know anything about Traction, what Missy's talking about, or EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System, part of the mindset you have to get in is, you know, looking at someone and saying, "Hey, look, I love you. And because I love you, I recognize that this probably isn't the best tribe for you." You talk about culture, right? And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that your tribe is probably somewhere else. So it sounds like that's kind of what you did for that guy.
Yeah, but you can't let them go like that. You basically, I was a biomedical science major. I don't know if you know that either.
No.
I was going to be a doctor, yeah. Biomedical
Wicked
science,
smart.
Spanish. No, I just love science and math. I had to study really hard. I'm not really actually that book smart, but I started shadowing doctors and I hated it. And so I'll never forget, I couldn't emotionally detach from you're sick, you're hurt, you're dying, you're injured. And
Hmm.
similarly to firing an employee, I mean, this is a terrible analogy, I guess, now thinking about it, but we had to tell a few families that their child had passed away or a family
Hmm.
member had passed away. And you can't say they've moved on. You have to go in there and say they're dead. And same with an employee. Today's your last day. Here's why.
Ah, yeah.
I learned that from others too, and kind of from my medical background. But it's
Yeah.
so
That,
hard because emotionally, I'm like, I know you don't have any other job lined up because
yeah.
I tried to easily let you
Yeah.
go, and I was going to give
Yeah.
you 2 weeks and all those things. And
Yeah.
but it's also good to have somebody to bounce that stuff off of. Like my husband, I said, I think I really need to let these people go, and he was like, and I had a conversation with him, and then the next day when they're gone, he was like, oh. Wow, you did that really fast. I was like, well, I mean, that's what you told me to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just good to have somebody to. I just want to talk this out. This is the right decision, right?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so
Oh, that
it's
makes a
good to
lot
have
of sense.
mentors.
And you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, it is essentially more humane to not string them along and make them think that it's all rainbows and butterflies when essentially it's their last day. And that's really how you should start the conversation so that it hits them and they understand.
Yep.
And it's still humane. It doesn't mean that it's any less nerve wracking for you to have to do and for them to experience. But at the same time, if they're thinking that there's some kind of false hope there, that's not healthy for anybody, right? Yeah.
No.
So it makes sense. So I'm curious about the referral portion, what we talked about before. Off air, you told me that referrals were actually that you are totally referral based. Tell me about that. And for our audience who's listening, who's thinking, man, I really want to like get into referral based business or create maybe make my book of business more referral based than smiling and dialing. Uh, how, how did people do that? How did you do that, and why?
Well, I love sales. So my career, like you mentioned, started off at T-Mobile, and I'm one of those weird people that loves to cold call. Like I love to make people awkward and catch them off guard. And
Weirdo.
when, yeah, when somebody says in a, sky rise that you're literally hitting each floor cold calling and they're like, there's no soliciting here. I'm like, oh, I know, I'm not smoking. It's fine. They're like, I said soliciting. And I like make them chase me through the building. It was so fun. I need to get back to that actually, but and it like gives you that. I'm an adrenaline junkie, so it's like that adrenaline. Like, what are they going to do? Cuff you and make you leave the building? I mean, they're just going to
Yeah.
ask you to leave. It's not that big a deal. So it's like you got to live on the edge a little bit of not obeying the rules, but
Yeah.
I could have said no smoking. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Um, so referral based, gosh, it's been a journey for sure, and it really started at T-Mobile when I found a niche because I was selling business to business Blackberries. Y'all remember Blackberries?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You and I talked
Well,
about that
I say
before. I
y'all.
remember.
Hopefully, all thumbs. So I found a niche, realizing that IT directors all hung out with each other, and so I was like, wait a minute. Why am I not going to these IT director conferences and meeting them where they are and learning their thing? And
Mm,
it was mostly older white male industry, and as a female that was young and had decent looks and a few brains, like they listened. So it was really cool um, to learn sales that way, and that relationships are, you know, who are your referral partners? Is it just one cell phone, or do you want to sell 150 and then them tell their friends? And
yeah.
and then that kind of leads to customer service and all those things that go along with that. But so that's where I first learned referral based marketing was at T-Mobile. And then when I went to Liberty Mutual, I kind of transitioned that to the mortgage industry because we had our personal home and auto rep with Liberty Mutual.
Hmm.
And I said, though, to my husband, I was like, why didn't she cross sell my auto? And she just got the home insurance and then moved on. I'm like, our auto is with, I don't remember at the time. we were getting married. She didn't ask about life insurance. Like, I'm like,
Wow.
David, this is definitely the career that I think I could do. So, um, and I had already been on a number of awards trips with my husband because he was with, when he first got into business, with a top producing loan officer and then became his own
Yeah.
top producing loan officer. So I knew all these people. I had personal relationships with them and I traveled with them. So it was a real easy transition, even though it took a massive pay cut, but not having that commute. But I just said that, that is the industry I'm going to start with, and keep going. And then not be afraid to ask. So
Yeah.
one regret though that I do have, and I think you were going to ask this question, is I wish that I had learned the commercial side of the business before I went out on my own. And I did have a few agencies that would have been willing to hire me, but I was really ready to have babies and I didn't want to be on somebody
Yeah.
else's maternity leave plan. We're all terrible. So
Yeah.
I wanted to create that for myself. And I knew that my clock was ticking literally. So, and then I was forced out at Liberty,
Yeah.
fired. So
Yeah.
God had a
So
different plans for
why
me.
though? Why do you say that that's a regret now? Not wanting
Um,
commercial lines sooner.
Well, I think our book would be a little bit more balanced. We're really heavy personal lines. And
Yeah.
speaking of maternity leave, in the past 5 years, we've had 9 babies in the agency. It's a problem.
Wow.
Don't drink the water here. Yeah, and we only have 8. We only have 8 employees, like,
But they're all female.
and they all can have babies. So, and they're young. They're growing their families. Which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
cried at Christmas with them, and it chokes me up still that I sought out to seek this type of lifestyle, work balance lifestyle for myself, and I've created it for 8 other women.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but I realized it
Yeah.
at Christmas. And
That's
it's still pretty
powerful.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's many things I could talk about with the maternity leave thing, but um,
Well, but
you have
that's
to
part of
remind me of the
culture,
question.
though.
Yeah,
Let's touch on
it
that for a
is.
second, because that's one
Yeah.
of the things you talked about at the beginning. I'm curious, like we're talking about the referral piece, and that's good. I want to keep going, but I'm also curious about what is it about, like you say, yeah, culture is really important. What does that mean to you? I mean, it sounds like that's one of the things.
Ugh, yeah. I'm really weepy today. Let me just go and tell you, speaking of maternity
Wow, did I
culture,
hit
like,
a
I'm going to
wow?
cry. Oh, so, but I guess that's a good podcast, right? It's like the holidays. It's not a good holiday unless somebody cries.
That's right. Every
It's not
day,
a good
Missy,
podcast.
every day. If you don't shed a little tear somehow, you're just not doing it right. Right?
So, my staff is very, very, very special and dear to me. They're very close to family. Now, I do keep a safe distance where there's some things they've shared with me that I'm like, that's a little
Yeah.
oversharing. I did not
I'm your
want to know
boss. I'm
that.
your boss.
um, and that's funny, that word. I get uncomfortable when they say that because we're a team. It's
Yeah.
first among equals. There's a leader on the team, but they're leaders too. And I
Yeah.
really get cringy with the word boss and bossy. And
Yeah. Fair.
they are like my sisters,
Mm.
if I was to give a family type analogy. Our
Yeah.
brand, which ties into that, is family, faith, fun. So when I
Right.
talk about the family piece, they are like family, but I care about their families also. And we put our families first. So if there's some
Mm.
emergency or something they have to deal with their family, go do it. Like, I'll pay you through it too. I don't
Yeah.
think about a lot of them have earned or have negotiated unlimited vacation. Side note,
Wow.
that's just a small piece of. We do team outings at least once a month, often twice a month. Their favorite team outing, Jim, is going to my back porch. We call it Paradise Porch, and if you go on my social media pages, you'll see us on my back porch. We get the most work done there. I'm not kidding you. We're all together. We do our role playing. We cater and lunch. We're
Wait,
sitting
wait,
there.
wait. Let me get this straight. Hang on. You said a team outing equals going somewhere to work?
Mhm.
Is that what you just said? But and
My
they love
team,
it?
and they love it. My team, and they would come in here and tell you this too. They love to work. They get mad when I pull them away from their desk because they know they're making money. They know I'm paying them to make money, and they don't want to see their email back up. And they
Yeah.
know when especially my producers, they know if they go on vacation and shut it all down, which they are entitled to do, and we have the backup and support for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that is actually really refreshing, and we don't do that enough as Americans. But
No doubt.
they don't want that to happen. So they go and get to experience hanging out by the pool and my back porch is overlooking 8 acres, and it's really peaceful and wonderful.
Wow.
And but we get so much done there because we're all there together. It's kind of like a war room where like information travels really fast, and
Yeah.
it's. But I also let them work from home. I let them take vacation. They have to give a 2 weeks notice for vacation. I was trying to start a daycare to solve this baby making thing that's going on in the agency.
I think you might
And
have to go back to a different root cause, though.
this is true.
Just
With
saying.
being trying to, we'll just stay appropriate, Jim. I can go inappropriate real fast, but
Sorry, this is a G-rated show,
off
PG-rated.
record, yes. So, but I truly cherish them. Now, my interviewing
Yeah.
process is about 2 months long.
I'm sorry, did you say 2 months?
2 months.
Wow. So are
I
you,
want to
it's
really
like,
get to know
sounds
the
like
person.
dating.
It is like dating. Before I
Okay.
hire someone, I want to make sure they're the right fit. And I just recently, this past year, we made a bad choice as a team.
Yeah.
We do a phone interview. Whitney and I
Hmm.
both do, my agency manager, and then we do an in-person interview with me and Whitney, sometimes together, sometimes separate. And then I have my husband interview them, get a totally different perspective. And
Wow.
he really
He's
doesn't.
not even, well, I mean, he's part of the company, but he has a totally different role.
He runs his mortgage business and consults with me maybe twice a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Right.
he was really the entrepreneurial brains behind the agency because I'm a salesperson. And
Yeah.
E-Myth Revisited told me, do not start an agency as a salesperson. You need
There you
some
go.
support. So he was it.
Yeah.
Um, but um, yeah, it's just been such a journey with so many staff in here. But anyways, my staff then once they make it past that, and that takes just scheduling and everything. It just
Sure.
takes a few weeks to get all those in. Then
Yep.
they come and do a full day's job shadow. And my staff has been like, nope, 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 not working with her because our
Wow.
culture is, we're so protective of our culture. And you get the wrong
Wow.
person in here, it can like really
Yeah.
implode.
Yeah.
So they get to make the final decision, really. And so um, after that job shadow, I wait to see if they're going to follow up. So
Instead of
sometimes I
chasing
wait.
them and saying,
Mhm.
hey, yeah, here's,
And I try to never be desperate. I always have 5 to 10 people in the hopper that I would interview. Resumes, we're always hiring. My team always knows that. They have a
yeah.
few people. And again, I don't say never. I have one employee that I hired with some sales experience, but it was mostly on the E&S side of the business. And
Yep.
she called the agency saying, my position was let go from my prior agency after I came back from maternity leave. And I was like, oh, the daggers are out. Tell me what agency that is. We will get an attorney and I'm ready to go. She's like, no, I'm just looking for a job. I was like, oh, well, yeah, we're actually hiring. So, and I wasn't at the time. I was,
Yeah.
but it worked out perfect because soon after that, I fired the gentleman I told you about and
Yeah.
hired her. And she's now been with me 6 years.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, there's tenure here too. So creating that culture is super important, but it's been hard. It's been a lot of work. It's a big focus of mine
You
and my
know,
staff.
and I'm, yeah, and I'm curious. I mean, that's a whole lot of culture packed into a very short amount of time. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Very valuable for the audience. One thing I'm curious about, and that I get questions about from people all the time is, and there's no right or wrong answer on this, but what are
Mhm.
your thoughts on hiring totally remote employees and even an employee who's not near you or maybe in a different state?
So I have a lot of experience here. Actually, my husband 10 years ago started using virtual assistants when it was not popular at all.
Hmm.
And he used some from the Philippines. And this is a funny story, actually. After the third excuse from the third Philippine employee that their dad had died, we were like, wait a minute. I think they're onto something. I don't think
Yeah.
their dad actually died. I think they know that us Americans are sympathetic to
Yeah.
dads dying. So, so I got to learn kind of from his experience, and it was very unconventional. I remember presenting it to SNA, and the members were like,
Oh,
a
tell us
lot of
for a
them are
second. I'm
South
sorry. What
Florida.
is
Yeah,
SNA?
SNA is Southeastern Network Agencies. It's a very small niche network, cluster,
Hmm.
aggregator. I've heard it called
Okay.
all three, but We are more like secure risk for those secure
Yep.
risk agencies out there, but kind of the, if you would, the minor leagues for agency and agency aggregator like secure risk. You grow up to
Right.
be a big dog agency and get to join secure risk, but we're for kind of the smaller agencies, a million in sales, 3 years in business, a few employees,
Right.
a few partner carriers. But, we pool our premiums together to negotiate better contracts, better bonus structures, just strengthen numbers. There's
Got it.
about 25 of us right now, and we're all in Georgia. But Southeast, we're growing to South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama,
Got
never
it.
Florida.
Okay. So then thank you for that. So then back to how do
Mhm.
you what are your thoughts on remote, fully remote?
So I'm a huge fan. And I
Okay.
think, yeah, I'm a huge fan
I'm
of people working
surprised
from home.
because of the culture that you explained
What, do
before
you think?
seems
Okay.
like that you would need to be close by in order to participate fully in that. Am I wrong?
It is, you're not wrong. It is,
Okay.
it is more of a challenge. So I do have one virtual assistant that's from an insurance specific company. I don't know if we're allowed to plug, shameless plug for other
Plug away.
it's agency, yeah, agency VA is the company that I use, but there's a lot of great ones out there, and we're
Yeah.
actually even looking at a few other ones too,
Yep.
and they're a little bit more expensive, but they kind of manage. Now, pros and cons, they can be remote, so that when we do our team outings, there's somebody still back in the office running the
Ah,
show,
okay.
answering phones.
Yeah.
I have flown her here a few times,
Wow.
because I want her to be a part of the culture, part of our pictures, part of the team. And I don't want our clients to feel that remoteness. She's
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico. And so she's also, I have two bilingual agents. She's one of them.
Wow.
And then I had a second VA who ended up leaving and going into a teaching position, also
Hmm.
with agency VA. And I'm going to need a third one here soon, but it is hard to rope them into the culture. It took her a while to be like, Laisha, you are on our Monday morning meetings. I need you like on the meeting.
Yeah.
Like that's part of your job. She's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay. I didn't realize. But it's also hard because there's two people managing her. I'm managing her. Well, me and Whitney are managing her, and then she's got agency VA managers. And then when she wants
Right.
to take off, I get an email from them like, Alicia's sick today. We're like, we know. She already told us. Like
Yeah.
that part. But then I have, I've thought about hiring on my own, but then that's really tough to manage remotely
Yeah.
and really get to know a person. So it's tough.
Yeah.
However, I also give that privilege earned to my staff. I have
Yeah.
my agency manager manages and runs my agency 4 days a week from Columbus, and I don't have a
Okay.
Columbus office. I have a
Okay.
Douglasville office.
There you
She is
go.
fantastic.
Okay.
Um, all of us experienced, whether you wanted to or not, being remote during. And how did you deal with culture then? I can tell you what we did, and you just do it and you make it
Yeah.
work, and I don't think about the money tied to it when I do team outings or when they need a day, because
Yeah.
they work their butts off for me, and I don't stress about who's in at 9:01 versus who's leaving at 5:02. Like, I don't
Yeah.
stress about that.
Yeah.
I let them take lunches. I buy lunches. I really pamper them.
Yeah.
They're the bread and butter of the agency, and but they also are human and sometimes take advantage of the privileges, and we just rope it back in, sometimes
Sure.
individually, sometimes I have to, like the daycare thing this summer, it was an issue. I'm like, hey guys, being able to work remote with a 2-year-old is not actually working. You all know you're getting
Yeah.
about three
Yeah.
hours of work in, if that, while the baby sleeps. Like,
Yep.
I'm
It's got
not
to be
dumb. I have four
undistracted
children.
environment.
So if you can't do that, just take off. Okay. But I
Yep.
don't need, so I had to say, I can't start a daycare because it's basically about 100 grand to run a daycare, and that's just not smart for us right now.
Yeah.
You're spending a lot less doing it
You're
in
an
maintenance.
insurance
So
agency owner, Missy. Own the insurance agency. Manage it.
not a daycare. No, thank you. I don't want to run a
Yeah.
daycare. So again, I was trying to solve a problem that wasn't really a problem. It was just
Yeah.
made into a problem. And
Yeah.
so, once there is a mutual respect. I work hard to keep them, and they work hard to keep their jobs.
Mm. Yeah. I like that. And that's such a key point. I keep making notes of like timestamps to go back to draw out points for later, because you're right. It's a mutual respect thing, right? We talk about that a lot in our agency. It's like, look, how can we all adult together, right? We need to hold you accountable, but we also want to participate in your own personal growth, even if that's not all work related, right? So doing
Absolutely.
volunteer activities, which I know you're a huge proponent of, and that's I think a big part of your culture. It's the pop-up that pops up when I go to your website, so it must be a big part of your culture.
We have a big event coming up, so
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Shameless plug for that event.
So I was a gymnast in college, as some of you might know, and one of my college teammates who ended up marrying our vault coach. I giggle because when she first came into the team, I was a sophomore. She was a freshman. I was like, "Oh, everybody has a crush on him. You'll get over it." Nope, she didn't get over it. She married him. They have 3 boys together, and their middle son was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor in 2020, and he passed away in January of 2021. So she started a foundation and is on our to support other DIPG families because it is a death sentence. It's hard for me to get that out of my mouth, but
Yeah.
there's about 200 children that die of DIPG a year. There's no cure, hardly any research. And so this foundation supports the families because parents quit their jobs. A whole family, pulls out of school.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It's really a tough
Wow.
battle. And you just watch your child decline and then die. It's
Yeah.
terrible. So
Yeah.
when Noah was diagnosed in September, it's also brain tumor or children cancer awareness month or brain tumor awareness month, I think September. So she picked September to do the Noah Brave 5K in the first year that they launched it. He was still living and he got pushed in a wheelchair.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, here I go crying again.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see
They
it and
are
I
a
can
precious
hear it. And
family to me. Yeah. We have matching tattoos that I'm not going to show on the G-rated podcast. Go to the black market to see that podcast.
yeah, I'm not going to ask you where it is.
And we got it both our senior year of
Oh,
college because that was a tough year for me because I graduated as a fifth year and she graduated in her fourth year. So we graduated at the same time.
yeah.
And it was the first big event that my dad, who had died that March, was not going to be at. So,
Yeah. Wow. Yes,
yeah,
I feel it. I feel
we've
it.
walked in the valleys with each other together, and it's been a journey for sure. So,
Wow.
Lori was going to be at, Noah's mom was going to be at our 5K, but she got our dates wrong and she thought it was this weekend, but
Yeah.
it's the 23rd and you can do it virtually. So anybody can do the 5K. It's linked in and I'll send you the link and share the link, but it's really easy. Noah Brave 5K. If you just Google that, it'll come
Awesome.
up. It's on our website, stallingsia.com. You can register, buy shirts. It's a great cause, and I'm really honored to be a part of it and a part of this
Thank you
story.
for sharing it. And yeah, we'll put a link in the description for wherever you're listening or watching this. And I did forward the information for that onto Secure Risk because I am on the board, and hopefully that's something that we can. This is
That'd be really
shameless
cool.
plug for that. Hopefully anybody from Secure
Yeah.
Risk and
Secure
management
Risk.
is listening. That we need to
Ed.
make this part of our mission. So. That's great. So I want to circle back real quick before I start asking you some rapid fire stuff.
Great.
I want to know a little bit more about the referral partner process and program for you. How do you find those? Because this is actually something that, and I think we were talking off air before about this. In our agency, we generally have left that up to the individual producers, and we're a little bit more heavy on the commercial side. But I recognize fully that it would be super duper awesome. Is that even a word? Am I just going to be like crucified for
I
that?
like when a wordsmith like you uses some silly, slappy humor. Thank you so much.
Fair. I hope no one that was ever my student when I was teaching high school is listening, but it would be, let's use a Boston term, it would be wicked awesome for us as an agency to figure out how to I think be much more intentional about how to get referral partners that can refer us the right type of business. So, how do you go about doing that? Because I think that's something that our audience would love to know if they want to do that themselves. And
Sure. Well,
selfishly, I want
first
to
of
know
all,
too.
I think this is a big piece in the insurance industry. I think you get to a certain tenure in any industry and think, "Ah, I got to be careful here. I'm always a sponge for learning. Let me speak in I'm always learning something new, open to new ideas. I don't claim to say be a naysayer on anything unless I've tried it and it didn't work, but I'm willing to try it again if it's
Yeah.
been redeveloped and changed. So, referral partners are definitely something that I learned early in the business, like I told you, early in my career as a salesperson.
Mhm.
And it's really right all about focusing on revenue generating activities. And we even had a great speaker at Secure Risk on the same topic. Um, and so for me, it's really finding those. And just because it was a great revenue generator last year doesn't mean it would be this year. So it's
Mhm.
constantly learning and talking and communicating and asking questions, but also having your standards. And I'll give you
Mhm.
an example that you're not willing to compromise. For instance, in the mortgage world, if you've ever worked with mortgage lenders, loan officers, they have many different titles. If you've ever worked in
Mhm.
the real estate world, lead generating and referral partners, you know that you will pretty much do anything that your lender asks you to. Some of the
Mhm.
things I've been asked to do is take a deck page, not by my husband. His team and his people would never
Let's
ask
leave him
this,
out
but
of this.
yeah, let's take, and I'm not going to mention any names because they could get in big trouble, but I
Yeah.
need you to take this deck page and I need it to be this premium. Just write the premium on the deck page and then we'll collect the rest after closing.
Oh,
I'm like, that would be fraud and I would lose my
wow.
license. No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. But
Wow.
then you're like, you're not human to think, is that wrong? Yes, that's
Yeah.
wrong. Okay, yeah, that's not ethical. I cannot do that. No, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir. Even though you know you'll be gathering the right premium, I'm like, no, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
But you
It's
do have that thought. So they will put pressure on you because they make way more money than we do in closing a homeowner insurance deal versus closing a loan. So I
sure.
have stressed to
One time
my
though, just shameless plug for anybody who's thinking about getting in the insurance industry. You don't get renewals on selling a home, but you do on selling home insurance.
yes,
Sorry.
thank you so much.
Sure.
A great shameless plug. Um, so I have had to retrain my staff over and over and over again that we're not order takers, that
Mm.
we are insurance professionals, we're account managers, and we have the privilege of selling all the lines to people. And so I just last week I don't love scripts, but I basically sent them a Vidyard video and said, we love video marketing too, and sending
Mm.
videos to clients is huge. Side note.
Yeah.
And I sent my team a video and I said, okay, here's the new conversation that you have with Mr. Referral Partner. Um, Hi, new loan officer Jim. It's so nice to meet you. Melissa Stallings, we had a lot of insurance agency, blah, 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 what all we do. Um, so just like you from your real estate agents and your builders, you want that, 800 credit score, debt to income ratio is perfect.
Mm.
Um, that's our best client too, by the way. So in order to get there, I'll help you with some deals that are tough. But our big goal is your best client. We want to be our best clients.
Mm.
Yeah, Melissa, we'll keep you in mind. We'll put you on the list. Well, keep you in mind in the South means I'll never send you a lead in your
Right.
life.
It's like
So
saying
please
bless
don't
your
keep me
heart
in
and
mind.
meaning something different. Yeah.
I'm Southern, but I like to be direct. And please don't keep me in mind. Are we going to do business together or not? Can I count on you for my next lead? And that will tell you a lot. And
Yeah.
then secondly, I'm going to put you on, oh, yeah, I'll put you on my list, Melissa. And I say, no, thank you. And then I just pause.
Yeah.
And they're like, this just happened a few weeks ago. And they're like, and everyone around you kind of looks if you're at a networking group or even, in a big group setting, they're like, she just said no to being put on the list. What? I'm like, I want to be the list.
Yeah.
Stallings Insurance is your only list. Because guess
Yeah.
what? We're a brokerage. We have the option to look at a bunch of different carriers, so you don't have to. So, no,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't want to be on your list. When you're ready to just use the best insurance agency in Georgia, give us a call. He called us.
Wow.
He called us the next week, and he's now.
Wow. Wow.
So it's just saying hard things. And sometimes it takes somebody coming with you, like, hey, I got to have this conversation. I don't want to be put on a list. If somebody says they're going to put me on a list, like, I got to be bold and say, no, thank you. And so that person was my sister-in-law who works for my husband. And so she didn't know she was holding me accountable, but I knew in my mind that she was going to hold me accountable to say hard things. Because you get in the setting and the scene and you're like, oh, yeah, put me on the list. I love lists. I love being at the bottom of your list and getting all your crap deals. It's a great place to be. So then once we're on the list, we'll show up and do a
Yeah.
sales training. And it's really just referral partner development. So we have a whole sales process that I'd be happy to share with anybody that is evolving and changing as software and automation and AI. And we love technology. And my next phase of insurance is really, I hesitate to say this out loud, but my husband wants to develop with his builders where we offer an insurance agency for the builder where they get a piece of the commission. So
Mm.
that's in development right now. And
Yeah.
then I also
Wow.
want to get in the merger and acquisition
Yeah.
arena too. But
Yeah.
referrals are our bread and butter. That's the majority of our business. We get a little bit of SEO, but they're not the greatest. We
Yeah.
get a teeny bit of walk-in. Again, not the greatest. It's
Yeah.
referrals from our existing clients, referrals from lenders. Our new referral partner that we're currently developing and learning the script and language and is financial planners and accountants. Like
Okay.
those people send ideal clients and they do not get called on by insurance agents. It's crazy.
I love it.
And
I love it.
they'll have a conversation with you. And
Yeah.
again, speaking their language too, the referral partners really learning their
Yep.
language and how they talk. So when I'm with lenders, I talk debt to income ratio, cash to close,
Yeah.
um, credit score, things like that, and try and create ways. And my husband's helped me a lot with that. But finding someone that's your friend in that business and they can teach you the language and y'all can have conversations about.
Yeah.
So we're learning that with financial planners and CPAs, but they are fantastic for sending ideal clients
I
too.
love that. And I love that you kept saying the word learning too, because that's something you brought up at the very beginning when we were talking about you going to, getting in front of, what was it, IT professionals, or I forgot what you said now.
Yeah,
IT,
IT
yeah,
directors,
IT
CEOs.
directors, yeah, and learning how they talk, what they talk about, what they're interested in, what drives them, and that is, you're right. I mean, you're never going to get somebody's attention until you understand what motivates them, what drives them, and how they even speak, the language they speak.
And how they
So
get paid
that's,
too. Like how much do they make for that transaction? Or,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
is the person handling the big commercial account, does he get compensated if he reduces the premium by a certain amount every year? Or,
right, yeah, that makes a lot of
learning
sense.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
brilliant.
try and then on the opposite side, when we present that commercial account to an underwriter, we present a tough case to an underwriter on personal lines. We can speak their language too, the underwriter language, right? We're kind of
Yep,
trading hats, like client hat versus insurance hat. So
yeah.
it's fun. And we haven't found a niche for commercial yet, but I've heard that. How do you say it, Jim? Is it niche or is it niche?
I say niche, but
So
my
do I.
son, who's a senior in high school, for whatever reason, like they have convinced him, they have convinced him that it's niche. I'm like, I just can't be that French.
Well,
I don't
well, I
know.
speak English and I speak Southern English, so I'm gonna the
I speak
CH in
American.
English
Come
is
on.
pronounced. I speak American. And there is no SH. It is CH. So we're gonna go with niche. But I have not found a niche in commercial yet. We've had a few, but that
Yeah,
is key. When you find that niche, it's a niche because you understand the insurance behind the risk and you understand
yeah,
the risk and you understand what they need and the exposure and how to insure it and how to speak their language. So that's the same with, I mean, they become a referral partner, right? Because they're like, oh, yeah, I got a wedding venue too. And here's
yeah.
another guy. So, and
I
it's
love it.
asking. Yeah,
Yeah.
asking for
That's
people.
one of our, you talked about values before for your agency. One of our core values for our agency is grow or die, which part of that means forever learning, like,
Hmm.
always figuring out how to be better. The next, I've said this probably 100 times before on this podcast, but my alma mater, Boston College, our motto was, oh gosh, completely drawing a blank now, but it's essentially
It was
grow or die,
so
right?
good. It was embedded
That was
so
so
hard that
good, man. I had everybody on the
here
edge of
are
their seat, and then I lost it.
we have
No,
not a motto.
it's ever to excel. Ever to excel is the motto, which is the same kind of concept of grow or die. Always trying to be better than you were the next day before. Learning. You got to be able to. You have to be in a position where you know almost as much as your referral partner does about a certain subject, enough to be dangerous. It sounds like what you're saying, right? And then, and only then, can you develop what you also talked about, which was the relationship that's necessary. Because if they know that you can speak their language and you can understand how they do things, then they're much more likely to want to work with you. So,
Absolutely. Okay, I have
yeah.
to say my mission statement since you said your motto. We
Oh,
haven't
do
come
it.
in. We haven't come up with our motto. What's the motto with you? That's not our.
Okay.
That's from The Lion King. But we came up with this together last year, and I've been shamelessly plugging books, but Seven Habits of Highly Successful People. Stephen
Highly
Covey. He
effective
also
people.
said, "Yes, thank you."
Stephen Covey.
Writing your mission. Yes, writing your mission statement. He has a little easy read on writing your personal mission statement, which we
Yeah.
use to write the agency mission statement as a team. Here we go.
Love it.
We are faithfully committed to serving our clients with the most polished insurance coverage based on their needs. We strive to positively impact our community near and far while glorifying God, working hard for our families, and having fun.
Wow. I love it.
Isn't it good? Yeah, thank you. And it's
Boom.
memorized. Yeah. So it
I
has
love
our
it.
brand in our mission statement and our
Yeah.
values are in our mission statement. So um,
Awesome.
yeah,
I love
it
it.
took a full year for us to develop it, and we scratched, and every week we would work on it, and it finally came together. It was beautiful. I love it so much.
For those that are listening instead of watching, Missy did actually take a bow when she finished saying that. So just, you need to
Well,
know that. It's
curtsy, but
important.
bow. I
You
was
need to
more
see that.
curtsying for the honor of Jim to allow me to read my mission
I
statement
love
on
it.
his podcast.
I love it. All right. I want to get into some rapid fire
Mhm.
questions, partly
I'm
because
ready.
I want to
Is there a
see how
buzzer?
fast your brain works. I know how fast you can talk, lady, but I want to see how fast your brain works. No, I'm
Oh
just kidding.
gosh.
Hey,
I
listen,
did
you and my
power
wife
poses,
should
but I
get
didn't do
together.
brain games. Yeah.
Yeah, you and my wife should get together and have a talking contest because I actually don't know who can talk faster. She's the northern version of you.
Oh gosh. So she probably talks faster. Therefore, that means she talks faster than me.
it's fast. All right, one piece of technology or software you cannot live without.
Insured mine.
Oh, okay. Tell us about that. I know what it is, but tell everybody in the audience in case they don't know what that is. Insured Mine.
Insured mine.
Yep.
So I came across Insured Mine not as a client, but because they were doing free headshots at my first secure risk meeting before SNA was a member.
Really?
And I came in there and was like, I would like a headshot. I always let him down for a good headshot. It was actually a terrible headshot. It was like from here, and it made me look like super wide. My chin, it was terrible. Sorry, Insured Mind, you're not photographers, just for the record. But keep doing, yeah, don't put
Rauchen,
your
you need
chin
a
up.
better
But
photographer next time, man.
I know, gosh, I love Roshan.
Yeah.
Insured Mind, just all around culture is very similar. So we often, work really well with vendors who have a similar culture that we do. And they had me
Yeah.
on a podcast, and Whitney actually.
Nice.
Um, Gosh, they've just helped really mine our data, our insurance
Mm,
data, and they know the insurance world so well. They've really helped with some API with things.
hmm
They also are our pipeline management. So that works well, having your data, but also knowing your numbers and seeing your team's pipeline all in one platform. We hardly even use our management system anymore other than just syncing with Ivan's.
Oh, wow.
Um,
So are you
yeah, most.
using them as like your sales pipeline and CRM to distribute information like emails and texts and things or
Yes, we have
wow.
campaigns through there. We have each staff has pipeline. I can pull a report at any point in the weekday, month, and see where they are, where they're tracking,
Awesome.
what's in their pipeline, closing ratios. It's been phenomenal for our team. And then, say an agent's out, somebody can pick up that deal card and pick up right where it left off. It's game changing for the agency.
That's
So
cool.
um, it also helps with how many referrals did David Stallings send you this month, Melissa? And I'm like, oh, let me see. And just
Wow.
boom,
Okay.
you can pull it. And then how many referrals did Homestar send you this month? Well, what branch? I can break it down by
Wow.
branch, loan officer, processor, or I can pull the whole Homestar company. It's phenomenal. Progressive
That's
was in
awesome.
here today, and they're like, where did Progressive lead for the last? Because they're telling us, that we're kind of flat as far as growth with them. I'm like, shocker.
Yeah.
You'd be
Yeah.
glad that you're flat and not negative. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was easy. I'm like, you're still in our top three carriers that we're writing. So you should be happy and singing our praises. You're welcome. So, it's just really easy to pull that data when before it was like, oh my gosh, how do I even pull this report? I need an IT
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
What are we doing? But the numbers are clear. It's similar to like an Apple software where it's just so user friendly. It's so
Yeah.
easy. Support is fantastic. Roshan is there to help with things, which is amazing. He's the coolest guy
He's a
and
stud.
so smart. Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
say he's a
I said
stud?
he's a
Yeah, he is.
stud.
He is, yeah. And he's taking the industry that has been in the dinosaur age with technology to a new level. I mean,
Yeah.
IAOA has helped with that too, but we love technology. So that is one that's been game changer for us.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you.
Hmm.
What's one book that you're either reading now or that you've read in the near past that you want to share with folks?
Sure. I'm not like a reader. I'm a Audible girl because I'm
Yeah,
on the
sure.
go all the
That
time.
works too.
And then when I sit down to read a book, this is what I do. Like I can fall asleep anywhere and everywhere. Like you can time me. Last night it took me 7 minutes to go to sleep. That's impressive. My watch told me that.
That's awesome.
We as a team right now, so we have a Monday morning meeting every week, and
Hmm.
we have an icebreaker in the beginning, and then we usually go through our when we have a new employee, we go through our brand slowly, and then our values slowly, and it takes a
Hmm.
good 3 months really to hit on everyone and memorize them. We did
Yeah.
our mission statement that way, but we often will interject 2 or 3 books. So we're reading the five love languages right now again, and we picked it as a
Nice.
team. It is a good one, married or not, in a relationship or not. It
Yeah.
is good for just understanding the way people give and receive love. And
Mm.
I do not like the phrase, it's just business, because it's not. I do
Yeah.
business on a very personal level,
Yeah.
just like you and I, Jim. Like, I just
Yep.
can emotionally attach to people really easily, which is why medicine was not for me. And, or practicing medicine was not for me because I couldn't detach emotionally.
Yeah.
So it's been a really, really good book and really eye opening to my team. And I didn't realize some of their love languages. So,
So what are
so we have a whole
yours?
list. I am words of affirmation. So
I thought,
please
aren't you
give
supposed
me
to have
all the
two or is it just
compliments.
one?
Just hearing you read my bio, I was like, oh. So
Oh man, I feel
seriously.
bad that I cut part of it out now.
And I didn't know what Whitney had sent because you had a few bios and AI can help some, and you change a few things here and there,
That's
and
fantastic. I love it.
so it was. It literally you filled my love tank before, and that's what they talk about. And
Oh,
that's what he talks about in the book, filling
yeah,
your love tank.
that's awesome.
Um, so here I actually have it. Let me.
I think I
Um,
think I am when I if I remember them, I think that one of mine is quality time. Nice.
that's
Yes.
my husband. Quality
Okay,
time is
quality
my
time
husband.
and
Now you can.
yeah, and the other one was I think is physical touch one of them. Yeah, like I'm a big hugger. So like when I see you, when I meet you, I'm gonna hug you, and you just better be ready. That's what's happening, guy or girl, it doesn't matter. Like I'm just a hugger.
Yep.
I need that
Bring it
physical connection.
in.
Yeah.
Bring it in. I do too. Is or is not appropriate in this day and age. I give a good leg hump, Jim. You haven't. Yeah. And I also
Yeah,
give a
my
good
dog
chest
is
bump.
here listening. Yeah.
And I do it just like a dog, but I actually don't really touch you at all. It just looks really inappropriate to everybody watching, and that's the whole point.
Fantastic.
If you
I
go on
love
our
it.
social media pages, you can see a good leg hump and a good chest bump. But yeah, five love languages. They're words of affirmation, which is how I receive love, gifts, acts of service, which is how I give love. I give love through acts of service, um, quality time and physical touch. Did I say them all?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Gary
That's
Chapman.
awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. Man, we just went off the rails talking about leg humps. I don't even know what to say. Blushing a little bit here.
I can't
All
even
right.
think about my leg being humped right now.
Last rapid fire question. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah, I hit on this a little bit earlier. When you first start your agency, join the Big I
Mm-hmm.
in your area. And if you haven't joined your association, do it now. And also join your local chamber.
Mm.
Two big regrets of mine that I didn't do until like 5 years in. I was like, what?
Why?
So many contacts. I mean, gosh, a wealth of free knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you pay for the association, but to
Yeah.
me, $500, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive at the time. And
Yeah.
now, it is exponentially valuable. Um, those are big orders. IAOA is also another great one, just for
Yeah.
another
And for
great.
those that aren't familiar with that, what is it? I only know it as the Facebook group.
I've been to they have a conference every year too. So I've
Yep.
been to every conference every year, and it's in Chicago, October 5th through 7th. I don't know if tickets are sold out. They sell out pretty fast, but
Okay.
it's a great conference and like-minded people who care about their agencies and care about growth and profitability and retention and all the things. So yeah, it's that's what I would tell my younger self. And then just
Yeah.
read books and talk to people, and those are two.
And I mean, what you're talking about, especially right now, is goes back to what you said at the very beginning: is relationships and culture. Relationships and culture. So it's beautiful. What's
Thank
one
you.
final piece of advice or one actionable step you would give to our audience before we sign off?
Do it even if it's unconventional.
Ooh, like the leg hump.
Or doing a dance to Beyonce before you do a speaking engagement at a Big I conference.
Is that what you did?
That's what I did. Also on our TikTok page. We have a TikTok page too. We get made fun of all the time from insurance agents. I don't care.
That's funny. I love it.
Stallings IA. You can find us on all the social media platforms. So do it even though it's unconventional. Did you watch my YouTube video about why not to use an attorney in an insurance claim?
No, I did not
Also
see that.
unconventional. Fantastic. I don't have attorney
Oh,
friends
wait, wait,
anymore.
wait. No, I'm sorry. I did see that. Yes, yes, yeah. I think I did. You repost it on LinkedIn?
Yes,
Maybe that's where I saw it. Yeah, I
it's
love
a
it.
good one. So
I love
yeah,
it.
there's many things that people are like, "Oh, did she just do that?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"I don't care what you
yeah.
think."
Speak your mind.
And some of it works, and some of it has failed. But you know what?
Yeah,
It was worth a try.
yeah. I mean, it's like me using the phrase "super de duper," right? You just got to run with
Hey,
it.
get out there. Be
If it doesn't
vulnerable.
stick, it's okay.
Yeah.
You did it and you learned something from it. I
If you
love
don't
it.
ever want to get invited back to speak at an insurance conference, do a slightly risque Beyonce dance before you speak.
Ow.
Ask me how I know.
Ask me how I know. I love it. Oh my gosh, Missy, this has been fantastic. You and
Oh,
I got to have
so
lunch a couple of weeks ago. I felt
good.
like we got
Yes.
to know each other on a very personal level, like just talking about
Yeah.
everything but insurance. Today was really fun for me because I felt like I learned a lot more about you as an agent and an agency owner and somebody who really cares about not only their staff, but their community and everyone around, talking about relationships and culture. So I think this is really valuable. If people want to learn more about Missy or Melissa Stallings and get more of you in their life, where should they go?
You mean if they want to earn the privilege to call me Missy, where should they go?
There you go.
I mean, you just search for Stallings Insurance and we should pop up. If not, shame on us. But Stallings IA is our website, and you can really link to everything from there. Stallings, I for insurance, A for agency.com. And it links all the things. And hey, so many people gave to me in my career, and I
Mm.
would love to give back, or I would love to just collaborate. If you have an idea or a thought, like, call me. I am huge on taking time for my fellow. I've helped many agencies start, and I'm so proud of them. And asked for nothing in return. It's really just a duty of being in business 15 years, and it's a privilege to give back to the industry. And I started my agency in a recession. So, to quote Tony Robbins, winter is my season and I will not be denied. So, if you're scared right now, call me. That's when I started my agency in 2008. So, ain't scared of
Wow.
this.
I love it. Missy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on today.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you for
having
having me.
you. Yeah,
Thanks so
absolutely.
much.
Yeah. Everybody, until next time, grow big or go home. Take care.